Hey guys, Andy here from Mediocre Hobbies, bringing you a review video on Games Workshop's new tools. Games Workshop very kindly sent me out these tools for review, and I decided that unlike all of the other content creators on YouTube, I would actually spend some time with the tools before I put up a video to get to know them, get to know the pros, cons, if they're worth it, if they're not worth it, what I truly think of them. So I can honestly say, since I got these tools kind of 4 or 5 weeks ago, I've built maybe 50, 60 miniatures, including some big ones, using these tools. So I think I have a fair idea on how they work and what information I think you guys are going to need to make an educated decision as to whether these tools are right for you or whether you're going to stick with what you have now. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, these are the 4 new tools brought to us by Games Workshop. We have a new clippers, new knife, new maul line remover, and new drill or pin vise. I'm very excited to tell you guys what I think of these tools and how I think they can help you in your hobby. Okay, we're going to start the review off with the Citadel Clippers. Starting out with the clippers, as you can see, I've got 3 variants of the clippers. This is the old kind of chunky set of clippers. I keep this around just to cut up things like brass rod or any old pewter or metal models I want to cut tabs off, something that a chunky blade like this can handle. This is obviously the one we've been using for years now. I think it's the best looking design and it has stood the test of time. I have been quite satisfied with this clippers ever since the day it came out. It is a little uncomfortable in the hand when you're using it for long periods of time. If you're building whole sets of scenery, it can be quite sore. As goes its cutting power, as you can see, it does cut through the plastic sections quite easily, quite well. But when you compare it to the new clippers and how easy that cuts through everything, it's like butter. They're super sharp, super fine, and I'm super pleased with the cutting power with these things. They're a little bit wide when they're opened up, maybe a little bit more difficult for a younger person to hold and use. And with a €40 price mark, it's up to you as to whether you think they are worth it or not. I also very much like the fact that the blade is a lot thinner, helping you to get into all the finer parts on the sprues, cutting off those little bits, purity seals and the like, without actually damaging any of those parts. So for me, after using this for a couple of weeks, this gets a big thumbs up, and this will be the clippers that I will continue to use moving forward in the hobby. Okay, next we're going to go on to the new Citadel Knife. Moving on to the Citadel Knife, same as before, I've basically got every iteration of Games Workshop knife there possibly has been. I actually left 2 of them out of this because I didn't want to go through 5 knives. Some of the ones that I found my favorite were this actual square one. I found this just super useful. It's actually quite comfortable in the hand, even though it's a square design. Your fingers kind of wrap around, or at least mine did. They were the right fit for it. So I used this knife quite a lot, and I had those ridges which actually fit into my finger quite well. So I was a big fan of this one. We then moved over to the last edition of a scalpel, which was a lot thinner, a lot sleeker. Like I said, I think it's the best looking design. They're a beautiful set of tools. It was supposed to design so it didn't roll off the table and stab you in the leg. I don't think that did a particularly good job. The new tool did actually freak me out when I first got it. I took it out of the box and held it, and I thought for myself, maybe this isn't for me. It's kind of a weird shape. It's kind of bizarre. I'm not sure how I feel about it. But it is the only knife that I have used since I got it a couple of weeks ago, and I must say it has grown on me immensely. I now see all of the pros and cons. It's obviously quite comfortable, and you can see where my finger naturally goes, which is over the guard that covers the blade, which means I get control because my finger is so much further up the blade than I was allowed to get with previous knives, meaning I can be much more precise when removing mold lines, scraping away bits of flesh, or any of those other bits associated with needing a knife. It is very comfortable in the hand and therefore very good for building large sets, big tanks, big scenery kits, something you're going to spend a lot of hours doing. So this tool also gets a big thumbs up from me. Jumping into the mold line remover, a tool that I believe a lot of the internet doesn't know what its actual purpose is. So I'm hopefully going to cover that for you guys here so we can stop all of the confusion. Okay, I've had a lot of people online talking about what I use as a tool like this. I was working for Games Workshop at the time when these tools were brought in, and they were described to us as knives for children. So the idea is this is a tool that a new person into the hobby would use. Obviously you can't hand a 10, 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old a scalpel and expect them to go cutting up plastic. So this was a safety tool. Of course, it is going to have its shortfalls. It's not going to be able to get in at the finer parts, but it does do the job. And I know hundreds of kids who have managed to get this in their hands, clean up their miniatures and get them put together. The old tool, like I said, is very pretty. It was very uncomfortable in the hand, especially for cleaning off, like I keep going back to large kits like scenery kits. Scraping big fat mold lines off of scenery kits is horrid. This one itself is a lot more comfortable in the hand. It's more ergonomic. It's still got a sturdy tip, which isn't going to bend, which is a problem with the first version of this that came out. It's still got a sharp / not sharp point. It does clean off the pieces perfectly. It is a lot thinner, so it does actually get into nooks and crannies better than the previous one does. I'm not saying it's going to get into all the nooks and crannies, but it's definitely going to do a much better job. And all in all, I find it to be a good tool to have in the collection, like I said, for giving something like a kid a clippers and a mold line remover to get started building their first few models, or until they're old enough to be trusted with a scalpel or a sharp blade. It is not something that I recommend you buy if you are old enough to have. If you are comfortable using a blade, I think a blade surpasses this in pretty much every way, except for maybe this cool new little feature, which is the notch, which fits the side of a base rim, so you can clean off the edges of a base pretty quickly. I thought this was a funky design. It took me a few minutes to actually figure out what it was when I first saw it. So all in all, I think it's a great tool if you require it. If not, stick with your knife. And last but definitely also least, the new Citadel Drill. So yeah, let's talk about this. Now we move on to this. As soon as I took the thing out of the case, I wasn't happy with it. It does not feel like a great tool. It does not feel like it's produced well. This is the older version of it, which is full metal. It's got good action. The only downside to this one ever was that sometimes when you're rotating it, the back half disconnects. I just think they put the threads the wrong way around from whichever way you're holding it. Although the back comes off for a reason, it's actually a compartment to hold your spare drill bits. But as you can see, it cuts through the plastic like ease. It's quite comfortable in the hands. You're obviously not using this thing a lot. A perfect hole. Happy enough with this. I didn't see a need to try and upgrade it, and they definitely haven't with this one. So this one is, like I said, it feels quite flimsy. I don't understand what those wings are, where my fingers are trying to rotate. It means it's really hard to grip it. And if you notice here, as I'm turning the actual pin vise, in a moment, there you go, the actual drill itself has stopped rotating, only the pin, so it's actually not gripping the drill piece like the old one did. And here's me trying to tighten it as hard as I possibly, because like maybe I didn't tighten it enough. There I am, as much as I physically can, and still the drill piece itself is not rotating. Therefore, I don't even consider this not a worth it tool. I find this to be a defective tool. There's no way in a million years I would ever recommend anyone go out and purchase one of these blades or one of these drills. If you have an old one, keep your hands on that. If you need one, I don't think this is the one that is going to help you out. So I, for one, I'm going to be ditching this, and I'm going to be sticking with my old one for now. Okay guys, there we have it. My full review on the 4 new tools brought out by Games Workshop. I hope this helped you guys make an educated decision as to whether these are things you want to walk into a Games Workshop or your local independent store and pick up and buy. If you found this video useful, please give it a like. If you did find it useful, I'd love to know which parts you found specifically useful, and if you could drop those in the comments below. This is my first actual official kind of review video, so it would mean the world to me if you could share a little bit of feedback with how you think it was. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, it would mean the world to me if you took 2 seconds out of your day and hit that subscribe button. And if you'd like to support me even further, there's links to things like my Patreon below, which gives you access to a private Discord server where you can hang out with me on a daily basis and get some cool hobby done. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.